So today's notes are on area of triangles and quadrilaterals. We started this in class. We proved what all the formulas were, but you didn't get a lot of examples, so I figured I'd give you some example problems. So area of triangles and special quadrilaterals. All right, so first of all, let's list all of our shapes and their area formulas. Rectangle, square, triangle, then we have parallelogram, what am I missing here? Kite, rhombus, and trapezoid. Okay, so rectangle. I'm recording the video. Pay attention. 10 minutes. Sorry. Okay, so for rectangle, the area formula is base times height. We went over this already, so it's just recalling the formulas. For square, same thing, base times height. And some people write side squared, which is fine. For a triangle, it's base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height. For a parallelogram, it's the same thing as a rectangle, so base times height. For kite, it's 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. A rhombus is the same thing, 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. And for a trapezoid, you have base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, it's the average of the bases, times height. Okay, so now let's look at a couple examples over here. And I wanted to remind you that for a parallelogram, remember that the height is the line that makes a right angle here. That's the height. Okay, so some examples. Let's say I give you this figure and I say, here's a parallelogram. And I tell you this is 10 and this distance to here is 5. And I tell you this whole distance here is, let's say, 20. And I ask you, what is the area? Well, first thing you need to think is area equals, for a parallelogram, base times height. So here's your height. But you don't know that, but you can solve for it because this is a right triangle, so you can do Pythagorean theorem. So 5 squared plus your height squared equals 10 squared. So working that out, you get h squared equals 100 minus 25 is 75. And then you're going to square root both sides. Remember, when you square root both sides, you use the plus and the minus. So you have square root, positive and negative. So h equals, let's see here, 5 square root 3, 25. So when you simplify this radical, you end up with plus or minus 5 root 3. Now, remember that this is a real figure, so you don't need the negative. You're just going to use positive 5 root 3. Okay, you don't need that negative part. So now, coming back to my formula, area equals base is 20 times height is 5 root 3. So area equals 20 times 5 is 100 root 3 and units squared. Remember, with area, your units are squared. So there's your answer there. Okay. Let's do another one. Give you like one or two more. All right. Okay, let's say I tell you you have this trapezoid. And remember the height for the trapezoid, same thing as the height for parallelogram. So let's say the height is 5. And let's say this is 15. And down here we'll say this is 20. And we're going to go inches. Inches, inches. Actually, let me change this problem a little bit. Let's say we don't know this part. I don't know that base. But I know that the area is 200 inches squared. Solve for other base. So I know the formula for trapezoid is area equals base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. So what I'm going to do is fill in what I know and solve for what I don't know. So I know the area is 200 equals, so base 1 I'm going to call the thing that I don't know, B1, plus base 2 I know, all divided by 2, times the height, which I know, which is 5. Okay, so I'm going to start out by multiplying by 2 to cancel that out of the denominator because I want to isolate that B1. Okay, so now I have 400 equals, and these 2's have canceled, B1 plus 15 times 5. Now you have two options here. You can distribute the 5 inside, or you can divide by 5. I'm going to distribute the 5 inside. So I have 400 equals 5 times B1 plus 5 times 15 is 75. Subtract 75, subtract 75. 400 minus 75 is 325. Equals 5 times base 1. I'm going to divide by 5, divide by 5. 325 divided by 5 is 65. So base 1 is 65 inches, and that's your answer. Okay, so you might get some problems where you have to solve for a missing part. They give you everything except for maybe base 1, or they give you everything except for a height. Plug in what you know and solve for what you don't know. And that's it.